So a game that began so well and indeed was a credit to the third division rather fell away towards the end. But what about Ted MacDougall? One fine goal to his credit, but not really in his best form. And I asked him afterwards if all the transfer talk had tended just to make him a little restless.
A little bit, yeah. You've always got that nagging feeling in the back of your mind that you like this, right? You know, the first division I'm talking about. You know, it's always in the back of your mind, and you know, people say I'm not ambitious because I've stopped at Bournemouth, but I'm as ambitious as the next guy, like, you know. And you know, if the chance comes, well, you know, I'll just try and do my best anyway, you know. But as it's going at Bournemouth, you know, I'll see what happens, you know.
But you would like, obviously, before you finish your playing career, to try the first division.
Yes, I made a decision at 19 when I had 2 years to go of my apprenticeship as a line type operator, and people said, finish your apprenticeship, and I said, no, I want to be a professional footballer. And I tried it, and it could have gone bump, and it's the same decision now. You know, I could get to 40 or 50 your age, and
thank you.
And you know, I'll probably regret it the rest of my life, maybe, you know.
We've spoken about this before, haven't we? We've always said that while you're banging in goals, people will always want you.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you depressed when you're not banging them in between.
Well, obviously, see today, I mean, I never played well, but I scored. And I mean, that just means everything to me. It's no good to me playing well. I've probably played maybe three, 4 matches where I've probably played better than I've ever played for this club and not scored. And I go home and I just don't get the same satisfaction at all. You know, it doesn't mean a thing to me, really.
And now manager John Bond. I said that we'd read that he's prepared to sell MacDougall for the right fee, and yet sometimes that he's not for sale. It all seemed a little confusing.
It's confusion in my mind at the moment, Brian, for the simple reason that I keep seeing conflicting stories in the press. I haven't made any statement whatsoever. All I've ever said is that I would like to keep Ted MacDougall here as long as I possibly could. But I realise, as well as anybody, that he's terribly ambitious. He wants to try his hand in the first division, and it may be that the time is drawing nearer when I may have to consider letting him go to a first division club to see if he's able to do his stuff up the top there. You know, everybody's ambitious, and Ted is no exception.
The difficult question, I know for you to answer, but how near is this crunch decision coming?
That's such a difficult question. It could be sooner than later, really, Brian. That's as easy as I could make it for you, really.
Sooner than later that Ted moves to the first division?
Well, I think so, yes. You know, I mean, I've had 2 good years with him, really. When I first came here, I was prepared to let him go after a couple of months. His ability to take stuff in is as good as any footballer within the country, and he's made such progress during the last 2 years that I really feel now that the time is near when he's made as much progress as he can make whilst Bournemouth are a third division club. If we, for instance, had got into the second division last year, I think probably that the position would have been that much easier for us and for Ted.
He talks about being restless and a bit depressed. You've obviously are well aware of this.
Yeah, well, I remember some time ago talking to you at our football ground, and I said at the time that Ted MacDougall was terribly self-centred when he got round about the penalty box. He's still this way, and why I say that is because he gets frustrated and upset with not scoring goals, Brian, and that's partly to do with the unrest with him at this moment. But there's other things, you know, when he looks at you on Saturday lunchtimes on the box and he sees you interviewing these players and he sees all these big first division grounds, it makes his eyes boggle, and he thinks I'd like to sample that.
John, you were a defender in the first division. How would that fella make it in the first division?
I said yesterday to somebody that I'm absolutely certain in my mind, because I know basically what I'm looking at. I know basically what he can do and what he can take in, and his knowledge of the game, that within 9 months he will be the leading striker in the first division.
Really?
I'm as certain as that. You know, if I'd have moved to a first division myself and I had a couple of opportunities, if I'd have moved, he would have come with me, because he'll always come with me anywhere I go. Unfortunately, I'm staying at Bournemouth. Unfortunately, that is for Ted.
Yeah.
But I would have taken him, and I would have bet anybody as much money as they like that he would repeatedly score between 20 and 30 goals a season.
And what sort of money do you ask for a player like that?
I really haven't asked any money at all. I let people...
But you must have got a figure at the back of your mind somewhere, John.
All right, I have. I wouldn't let him go under £200,000.
Well, in spite of all that money, John Bond also told me that 5 First Division clubs had made a positive inquiry for MacDougall in the last year. Well, Jimmy Hill watched MacDougall yesterday in action with some of their representatives.
Yeah, well, in fact, I sat there watching the match with 3 Crystal Palace directors and Eddie Bailey of Spurs and Bill Dodgin, who was scouting for West Ham. Not an easy job for them to make up their minds. I tried to put myself in the position of a scout yesterday and see what I would think about paying £200,000 for Ted MacDougall. In fact, I had an advantage, and we've got that advantage now, because we had a camera locked off on his performance for the whole of the game. We really wanted to find out what made this man tick. And in fact, he caused a quick impression in the game very early on, soon after the start. He goes to lay a ball back here and recovers so quickly and shows all the ability that he's got to steam for goal and hammer in shots in the penalty area. That was right after the start of the game. There's a friend advising him how he might even have got it in the net if he'd carry on. He's there, he heads the ball and wins it in the area. But I want you to watch also the determination. He comes steaming in here at the end, and in fact he came in so fast there that he got ahead of the ball. People might say that was a mischance, but it was his determination that got him in there too soon. Watch how he slips Peter Gelson here, but in fact he runs into an offside position, heads quite accurately and coolly, just missing the goal. He wants the ball in the penalty area. He gets annoyed if it doesn't come as often as he would like, because it's there that he can make himself look a £200,000 player. Look here, when the ball doesn't come over, how angry he gets that it hasn't been put into the penalty area. In the air, in the area, he's useful. In the middle of the field, he doesn't win it that often. But this is where I think the scouts might have faulted him. You see here, he tries a dummy. Gelson's coming in, going for the ball, and he loses possession. Having made a good run, the move breaks down on him. Maybe it wasn't the moment to try a dummy, but we see another example here. When he's close marked, of where he has good skill, he takes this ball down on his chest, but he allows his opponent to get his foot in. In other words, he doesn't screen when he's close marked, and once again, the move has broken down on him, though Gelson did play him very well in the course of this match. Now you see him in space, and you see that when he's clear of an opponent, he has the ability to control the ball neatly and lay it off. But mainly, of course, a man of this calibre, a goal-scorer extraordinary, has the knack of being there. Just watch, when the ball hits the post from that shot, who's there when it bounces off? Ted MacDougall, showing that he's quick and nippy for a man of his size. And finally, of course, the goal. Almost as if it were done for our benefit. There's the first header, accurately placed, but not quite accurate enough. And then the turn and the superb volley, which makes one wonder, if a man can score goals like that in the 3rd division, can he do it in the 1st? And of course, that's really the question that everyone is asking themselves. There's going to be a lot of discussion going on in boardrooms and in houses over the next few days among the clubs who are interested to say, can he do it when he gets in the 1st division? Because really with a player, it's not what you see where he is, it's what you can make of him, as Bill Shankly said to me only a couple of weeks ago, when you get him back home. I don't think it'll be quite £200,000. I do think he'll go quite quickly, but I think it'll be knocking on that. If you ask me, would I buy him if I were a manager? Well, depends how much my knees were knocking at the time, how near the bottom of the league I was, or how near the top I thought I ought to get. I'm not going to give a direct answer. Why should I? The other people have paid for it. Let them have a stab.